Maronite or a Nestorian. There's a lot of things happening in our world that we're generally unaware of. For instance, in Nigeria, on a regular basis, you may get 50 to 100 black Nigerian Christians hacked to death on a weekend by jihadis coming down from the north, Fulani jihadis. And this almost never makes the news. And websites, I'd encourage you to start looking at these. Persecution.com, it's easy, and who are facing imprisonment. They are coming down to Mexico, where there is persecution of evangelicals and Protestants. Kuwait, Mali, Turkey, the Emirates, Bahrain, Niger, Oman. So who is our enemy? You may ask ourselves, it's a good question. Well, the Bible tells us who our enemy is. We have many names for our enemy, and it's not the person actually beating us up. Our ultimate enemy is Satan himself. And Jesus says in John 16, there will come a time when those who are persecuting you or killing you will think that in killing you they're offering a worship to God. That means people will be deceived by Satan into doing these things, that they wouldn't do it were they not deceived by Satan. So our ultimate enemy is not the KGB or jihadis or Al-Qaeda. Our ultimate enemy is Satan. And when you think historically, how do the persecutors become followers of Jesus? It's because the followers of Jesus responded in a Christ-like way when they were persecuted. I'll give you an example. Daniel, let's say Nebuchadnezzar. In Nebuchadnezzar, Daniel chapter 1, Nebuchadnezzar was a polytheist. It means he believed in many gods. In Daniel chapter 2, at the end of Daniel chapter 2, Nebuchadnezzar recognizes that the God of Daniel is above all the other gods. So he's now a henotheist. He's no longer a polytheist. A polytheist says that there are many gods and they're all equal. That's Daniel chapter 1. In Daniel chapter 2, Nebuchadnezzar is a henotheist because he recognizes that the God of Daniel is above all the other gods. And in Daniel 4, his conversion, he only recognizes Yahweh. He goes from polytheist to henotheist to monotheist in Daniel chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in each one of those stories, who does he meet? Suffering Hebrew boys who deal with him respectfully and graciously. He'd enslaved them. He'd probably castrated them. They'd been forced to learn the language. They'd been taken from their home. Jerusalem was in ruins. He destroyed their homeland. The temple was in ruins. They had every reason to be angry with Nebuchadnezzar, but you never see that. When Daniel or the three Hebrews speak with Nebuchadnezzar, they appeal to his conscience to change. And eventually he did. So you see in that example that, or Paul on the road to Damascus, well, that's not such a good example, but you hear it from jihadis today. Jihadis will say who become Christians that the more they killed Christians, the more they thought they were going to please God, but the more they entered, like you might say, the heart of darkness. And it was only when they turned their back on killing Christians that they received God's grace. And it was the Christians' demeanor when they were being killed was the critical factor in the jihadis becoming Christians. So who is our enemy? Well, it's Satan. As the Son of God